Hi there, everybody. Mundaeon Astral Oracles, joining you out from the woods, at least physically grounded in the mundane here, the world sphere, um, and looking into the eons. So there's the Mundaeon for you, and of course, what we communicate with a lot here on the channel is the astral spheres, partially these higher dimensions, these celestial realms, these crystalline spheres that are kind of, light within light, and geometries moving and breaking each other up into higher harmonies. These things, these higher realms, astral spheres, higher dimensions, and of course also astral intelligence. That is literally starlight intelligence. So a lot of these higher collectives, these higher guides that reside in starlight, and among others, for instance, also the starlight intelligence of humankind that's called the Solons, and that I, for some reason, connect to myself and enjoy working with. So in that way, what we're doing here at the Mundaeon Astral Oracles, here at the Oracles, is practicing oracular arts. And I've been pondering this lately as someone I've worked with quite a lot. Also presented to me that they knew somebody else they work with, who kind of what I would call did conjuring, like described as bringing things into existence. Whereas what I do is I read things that are already there, and then that got me wondering that's very much the oracular arts in contrast to the part of magic, or the part of the spiritual hands-on practices that we could connect to sorcery, conjuring, thaumaturgy. That means bringing your will about into existence, and manifestation, recreating reality. So an oracle is rather something that you encounter on your path, and that kind of draws things out of your process, of your fate, reads the strands of destiny that are already there and makes them apparent to you, and in that way somehow becomes instrumental in forwarding that fate, in heightening your understanding of it, on sending you on your proper way. So it's in that way it is kind of that person, institution, function that shows up and connects you to your map, your intuition, to where you feel you need to go when you yourself are perhaps lost on your path, or in need of guidance. And I think that's a very beautiful function to be able to perform. And you can, of course, work with me personally, or look up the services I offer. You can also join in on the live streams and get some oracular guidance there that will hopefully serve you in being guided. But that is essentially what this practice is all about. It's this experimentational reading of different subtle realities that are already present. And a lot of these subtle realities are only accessible to, let's say, the more subtle or refined non-physical vibrations of our own being. And that's, of course, the mental body, for instance, the energetic body, these more etheric structures that connect to the higher spiritual realms. And it is with these, and moving these into resonance with these higher energies, that we're able to connect to them. So of course there is a lot of hands-on spiritual work in this, where you can, well, look at it as the chicken and the egg, right? Like, so you get this guidance from these higher entities, and that helps you connect to, let's say, a better, happier, more well-feeling version of yourself. But it's also these states of well-being, of higher excitement, of higher emotional integration, understanding, love, compassion, connection, all these things that help you connect to these higher realms. So we are indeed kind of forwarding, lifting the ascension process as it takes place on this channel, and you probably know that already if you've been keeping up with the work, and you may also have figured out that this is kind of construed as an introduction video that you'll see out on the channel homepage if you're clicking on this for the first time and have somehow been guided to it. And that is my advice, that if you feel a resonance with this content, some people come across it and feel like, oh, that's some spiritual stuff or some channeling stuff, or it doesn't really resonate with them, and some people come across it and really feel like there's something in particular here that's trying to reach them. And that is, if that is the case, you are probably already fairly far down the rabbit hole of spirituality and examining these things on the internet. But you're also probably being guided to this space where you are in particular resonance with the way it's coming forward here. And that's the wonderful thing about this modern age, right? That there are so many voices, so many perspectives, so many ways that we can move into connection with ourselves, and it's always just the trick to find these instruments, these oracles, these oracular practices that can help you, connect you to yourself, and then resonate with you. So if you feel this content resonates with you, I encourage you to stick around and explore that, because there probably is some very, very meaningful stuff that can be offered to you, that can be released by you interacting with the content. And that's an experience that I have had the pleasure of experiencing with people I've worked with in this line of work and doing this practice, and that keeps being a magical, very, very interesting and and a path of great affirmation and great hope and connection, despite also its twists and turns, ups and downs, great mysteries, fierce unknowns, and general, let's say, frenetic excitement that may sometimes seem connected to this spiritual path that we are walking, both separately and together. So with that, I'll turn it over to my friend Umblam, who comes forward as a representative of the ninth dimensional Arcturian Council. The Arcturians are, of course, this illuminated species who have ascended themselves into existing as pure thought forms, pure etheric composites. But they like to come forward representing themselves and sharing their experience, because they are assisting us in our own connection, development, and unfolding of our potential. So I wanted to speak to Umblam, our friend, about oracular arts, about their perspective on how to use these things and what purpose it may serve. And thank you for being here, and thank you for being on your path. Much love to you out there. Hello, sweet human beings. This is your friend Umblam of the 90 Arcturian Council, coming to you from the ninth dimension with unconditional, unchanging, ceaseless love, with our love, compassion, and participation in your development, in your path towards higher emergence into starlight, higher emergence into radiance, with blessings and greetings from all your guides and galactic companions. We join you this day. So, how are you doing this day? Take a minute to check in with this question. If this is not your first time hearing this message, then ask yourself this question anew. How are you this day, in this moment, in this very instant? How are you? Well, seeing that we can read so much about you, we already know a lot about this answer. That is, it's not necessary for us to pose it, but it is necessary for us to draw out your self-reflection. So we are aware that this phrase is often a greeting that's passed around, but as a question, as an encouragement to check in with your state, this is exactly what we are doing here. And so notice that this is our stake in your state at this moment. It is that we are reading it. We are taking stock of your state. That is, we are invested in getting this data, in getting this information, in understanding how you yourself are collapsing the potential different realities that you may find yourself in into one singular vision of how you are doing, what is the state, because this is a type of spell that you make out of reality. See, from our perspective, everything is present at once, and so you could conjure up an entirely different reality, and yet you humans, you constitute quite predictable waveforms. That is, you have a tendency to collapse the uncertainty of reality into quite predictable states that has to do with your idea of time moving forward as sequences. You then building likely narratives, building situations that are like the one that went before to not upset yourself. This is how we look at it. We are seeming to then understand that the way you look at it is that it is as if there's something that should be coming to you, that should be happening, an element of unknown that should be moving you out of this state. And so this is often actually why we assist you. It's because this element that inspires you, that moves you, this higher self, its logics, its ways of construing reality, its way of moving you forward, it's far easier for us to understand, it seems. And it's far easier when translating our energy, our awareness into human voice, into human reasoning and human energy. It seems far easier for you to come to terms with, to make peace with these reasons, these ways of the divine, of creating change in your life. So what did we just do there? We defined the divine as an element of chaos coming into your life, as an unknown, as something that moves the predictable mechanics of you constantly creating your own reality in the same predictable frame. This is something that is stirred, that is moved, that is transformed, that is altered, that is heightened by your higher self. So what the Oracle is doing, what our friend here is doing in his work, and what beings who do similar work to him they are doing, is that they are essentially ratifying, making accessible the reasons of God to men. They are explaining to you why things need to happen and unfold the way they do. And so they are drawing out the inherent contradictions, the hidden motivations within you, to show you those and to better understand the progress that you are making and the mastery that you are building. So in that way, notice that what is here, transformed, surmounted, made whole, is the opposition, indeed the warfare, between your higher and your lower self. Your lower self wanting to be comfortable, your lower self wanting to be soothed, your lower self wanting to be warm, to be happy, ecstatic, diverted, excited, entertained. Your higher self wanting to be challenged, to be contradicted, to be exposed, to be understood, to be expanded upon, and to be made aware. These are only in opposition to each other when you do not see how they are instruments in each other's service. And this is why you come to an oracle. You come to understand why it is that divinity is at your service. And should you feel disconnected, you come to understand how you may be in the service of reconnecting, how you may place yourself into a greater connection away from this displacement of yourself. And so the only work we do for you is we connect you to yourself. And this was understood by a friend here when he began performing this thing that was shown to him, stepping into it, practicing and sharing it. He understood that what he was doing was that he was connecting these others, these different parts that everybody holds within their great and vast being, their multitude of personalities, guides and experiences of lifetimes within them. All these others, they were connecting to the central self of many lifetimes, of many existences, of a multitude of incarnational unfoldings. So you come to the oracle to feel peace on your path, to know that you have not gone astray, and to know that you are following the proper course on the map that your higher self has set out for you. There is a map, and you are following it. But you get to also plan the rest stops, the sites you want to take in, how you want to prioritize your time, what things you absolutely do not want to miss. There might be certain restaurants with certain menus, certain dishes you really want to take in, certain sites that need to be seen by you. And allow yourself to have these priorities, to seek the pleasure of abandon in your existence as well. And know that when you seek this pleasure with a pure heart, you are connecting to the will of the higher self, the meaning that resides within you, and that relishes in every experience with gratitude and with a feeling of increasing fulfillment. It experiences being with a great sense of love with a great sense of belonging, with this sense of connection to what is true, what is eternal, and what keeps everything seen, held, understood, placed in its proper place in infinity, within this great construct of love that we all share. Return to these words, return to the oracles within and without when you are in need of guidance, and see yourself coming together, and see the worlds making sense. Thank you. Our love, our gratitude, my personal pleasure. I extend gratitude for having been here, I, Umblam, of the Arcturian Council. I enjoy so much connecting to human hearts. It has brought out a frequency of truth in my heart and my innermost being that I relish, and that lights up the entire 9D Arcturian collective, our council of love and light. Farewell, sweet human beings, for now. I hope that served you out there. Much love.